Jerusalem. According to the United States, it's the capital of Israel, but not necessarily in Israel.
What country is Jerusalem in?
The president recognized Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Israel.
The U.S. has never recognized any part of Jerusalem as being in Israel. Under the UN's 1947 partition plan, the whole of Jerusalem was meant to be an international enclave. That's the original reason why nobody recognized this holy city as Israeli territory. Then came U.S. President Donald Trump and recognized the city as Israel's capital, but didn't change U.S. policy about its sovereignty.
We are not taking a position of any final status issues, including the specific boundaries of the Israeli sovereignty in Jerusalem.
The United States does not recognize the boundaries of Israeli sovereignty in Jerusalem, so it hasn't officially recognized Israeli sovereignty anywhere in Jerusalem.
That's clearly been U.S. policy for decades, and is still the policy, is that Jerusalem remains a final status issue. It will have to be negotiated.
That's the U.S. Consulate General. We're in West Jerusalem, 300 meters from the Prime Minister's residence. We asked the American Embassy whether this is in Israel, but the embassy couldn't give us an answer. Any ultimate determination of sovereignty over Jerusalem, said an official, will flow from the results of negotiations between the parties. The U.S. hasn't officially recognized West Jerusalem as being part of Israel and says it won't until the Palestinians consent. You could call it creative diplomacy or a fudge. The last U.S. ambassador to Israel believes there's method to the madness.
The administration is trying to strike a balance to leave space for the eventual negotiations on Jerusalem as a final status issue. This is the constructive ambiguity that actually serves U.S., Israeli, and Palestinian interests in the short term.
If the U.S. recognized Israeli sovereignty in East Jerusalem, that would infuriate the Palestinians and could nix the ultimate deal. But if the U.S. recognized only West Jerusalem, that would infuriate Israel. This unique situation means three glaring anomalies. One, the U.S. Consulate General is still the American diplomatic mission to the Palestinians. Its jurisdiction is the whole of Jerusalem plus the West Bank and Gaza. Almost uniquely, it doesn't report home through an embassy. Despite recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital, that policy hasn't changed.
To put it firmly under the embassy's jurisdiction would probably mean we'd lose our ability to conduct direct diplomacy with the Palestinian Authority.
Israel has a de facto U.S. embassy to Palestine in the heart of West Jerusalem. But unless this building will move to Ramallah, this ambiguity could be in everyone's interests.
If it were located in East Jerusalem, that might seem to have made a determination about East Jerusalem's future status.
Two, under international law, consuls need to get permission from the country where they're stationed, a special certificate called an exequatur. The U.S. Consul General in Jerusalem still doesn't ask for one. Maybe it's because no one in the U.S. State Department planned for this move. Or maybe it's because recognizing Israeli sovereignty over this mission would only pour fuel on the flames.
It might imply a recognition of Israeli sovereignty in the West Bank and in the areas controlled by the Palestinian Authority.
And three, the passports issue. The State Department has always said if you're born in Jerusalem, you can't have Jerusalem, Israel written in an American passport. But there's been no change in the policy about passports, because that would mean having to unilaterally decide what is Israeli Jerusalem and what isn't. Jerusalem is a city of miracles, and it's about to perform another wonder, to host a U.S. embassy to Israel that, according to U.S. policy, isn't necessarily in Israel at all. Eilon Levy, I-24 News.
He no doubt burned a lot of calories making that report.